how did we get connected? How did we start working together?
Yeah, so going all the way back, I was in a coaching consulting program. I think you were like a client success manager there,
Yeah.
and you hit me up and you're like, "Hey, I see that you're crushing it. You should jump on a coaching call. We host, a student every single week for these coaching calls." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." Then you were like, "Yeah, I see on your profile that you play football." He's like, "You a tight end or what?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm a quarterback." He's like, "Okay, okay, dope, dope. Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, I wanted to make money. Like I wanted to build a business. COVID happened. Had the spare time while my season was pretty much suspended due to COVID. And funny enough, ended up growing a business a year later. I moved to Denver. You came out here to Denver to visit, and that's where we met in person. And at that time, we were working on two different projects. But then, I started an offer with my business partner, who's also one of our best friends, Jr.
He's next on the podcast.
Yeah, and then we kind of joined forces, and you were our video guy and our short form content, long form content guy, pretty much for the past 3 years, and helped us make a ton of money and ended up selling the company.
Oh, that's fire. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get into the whole growing that business in the last 3 years, getting it to a point where you were able to exit and kind of what you learned and all that. Before we get into some of that, I kind of want to go back to where we first met, which was in the marketing world,
Mm-hmm.
kind of Facebook ads, marketing, social media marketing agency world. Tell me a little bit about your experience running that business, how you got into it, if you had any success in it at all, and what you learned.
I think marketing agencies to this day is probably the best business model anyone can get into if you don't know what you're doing. Why? Because there's so many resources and programs and YouTube videos that you can spend a whole weekend and pretty much learn how to do it. It's exactly what I did. I typed in on YouTube one day when I found out my football season was suspended due to COVID. I typed in how to make money with $0, and that's exactly what marketing agency can do, right? You can literally start that up from scratch, even not just marketing agency, but a coaching program, an info business. All of those, you don't need any money to really start. So I ended up having a lot of success with my marketing agency, and then I started, dabbling into real estate, and then that's where me and Jr. Partnered up to create our real estate service firm that we ended up, selling 3 years later. So lots of success, a lot of things that I learned along the way. Your first business or the first thing you dabble into might not be the exact thing that hits the home run, but along the way, you're capturing and developing a lot of skills for when that day does come and you have an opportunity in front of your face, you know how to capitalize on it.
Hmm. It seems like for you, you were able to have most of the skills necessary to start that new venture. But walk us through how and why you transitioned from marketing agency, more marketing focused as a service, to using those skill sets in this new industry of real estate, short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's funny because looking back, I when I had my marketing agency, it was doing well. Got into real estate and transitioned into a real estate service coaching offer. But knowing what I know now, I wish I would have sold my marketing agency instead of
Mm.
letting it wind down. And, I ended up, shutting it down. But yeah, knowing what I know now, I wish I would have, sold it. But the transition, to put in plain terms, I fell out of love with that business. I wanted to do something that was more long term, in my opinion. But I mean, long term, I think any business can be a long term business if you, really put the effort behind it and you really enjoy it. But it was time for me to get into real estate. And I think, in my opinion, real estate is something you can always do for 30 years plus. So I started learning into different business models, started getting into the Airbnb space, and we really based our company around that. So that's it was an easy transition, mainly because that just drew my attention.
Mm. So going into now the real estate Airbnb business, why did you decide to jump on that opportunity? Uh, how did you decide that that was where you wanted your focus to go?
Yeah, well, it started with I wanted to invest the money I was making from my marketing agency into real estate, and mainly into real estate where I can generate some cash flow. And the thought behind that is a lot of people, I mean, we know a lot of people in the online space that make a lot of money, but they also spend a ton of money. And we're not in this space, we're not really taught longevity. We're not really taught investing our money that we're making from our online business. So that's what I was doing at first. It was purely just make the money from my online business, put it into real estate, right? Something that's tangible, it's an asset, it's physical. And once I started doing that, I had a bunch of, and I was posting about it, a bunch of people started messaging me about, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And that's how we kind of crafted our offer. And then pretty much once we decided, hey, this is something that we're gonna do and we're gonna commit to, I mean, the rest is history from there.
That's crazy. Do you remember? I remember being in Hawaii with you. We met up in Hawaii. We were both there on two separate trips. Ended up
Mm-hmm.
finding out we were there, so we connected. We hung out, and during that trip, you were already in real estate. You had a couple Airbnbs. You had even launched some ads to see if more people were interested in what you were doing. But in that trip specifically, you mentioned that you had just partnered up with JR. So could you tell us kind of how that decision came by and why you guys decided to partner?
Yeah, well, at the time when I started Airbnb and getting into real estate, JR was also getting into real estate and starting Airbnb. And I remember I was doing a deal in Airbnb, and I messaged JR because he was setting up his Airbnb, and we were kind of just talking, and he was like, "Oh, let me see your property." I was like, "Let me see your property," and he was like, "Yo, this one might not actually work because it's in a zoned area where you cannot do Airbnb." I was like, "Oh shoot, I already signed the lease on the property." And he was like, "Yo, just come over and we'll talk about it." So I went over there. Me and my wife went over there and met up with him and his wife, and they were setting up the property. And we didn't really even talk business or Airbnb at first. We kind of just went to help set up the property. In the evening, we're watching Squid Games, just hanging out. And then from there, we started diving into business. And I told him that I was trying to launch this Airbnb offer and that we should partner together since we're both doing this. We both have a passion for real estate, and that's where we decided, yeah, let's do it and let's try to scale this thing. And pretty much from there, within the first 3 months, we hit our first $100,000 month. So I mean, we really had no option but to scale it from there.
That
Yeah.
that's crazy. A lot of times businesses, especially in the online world, 100K per month is like, oh, that's the ultimate goal. We want to get there in 1, 2, 3 years, but you guys did it in 2, 3 months.
Mhm.
How or why?
I would say right time, right offer for the right people. And we know exactly who we were targeting. We knew exactly what they wanted because we were in that position too. And at that time, Airbnb was high. I mean, Airbnb is still a awesome investment vehicle, and people love doing it. But it's been in the market for so long now, and I think people are trying to go back to hotels. Their Airbnbs, whole thesis around that thing. But um, yeah, we just, I mean, we just had an opportunity in front of us and we knew exactly what to do and how to execute it because of all those previous years. I mean, JR had a digital marketing background too. I had a digital marketing background. We knew exactly what we needed to do in order to scale. So, that's what we were talking about earlier. If I hadn't started that first business, if he hadn't started his first online business, second online business or whatever, we wouldn't have developed the skills that were needed to scale the right business to the levels that we did.
Can
So,
you tell us for you specifically what tangible skills you think those were now looking back?
number one, marketing, right? How to generate leads, customers, how to convert those leads into customers, how to hire people, I mean, pretty much everything that a business needs, right? Your first, I look at the first business I had as like practice, pretty much for this home run that we had, but pretty much everything like lead gen, sales, hiring, operation, finance, um, how to switch up offers and messaging and customer success, etc. So everything that you need to know in order to run a big business like we did.
Mhm. Could you share what the offer was?
The offer
Or
or
like
the
what
exit.
the offer, like what you guys were offering to people?
Yeah, so we helped our clients and investors find and launch short-term rental properties without having to purchase the home. So they can rent it and use it to put on short-term rental platforms. And let's say they're renting out the property for 3 grand a month. They make 5 grand a month in bookings. They collect the difference. So it's purely a cash flow game. Why was this? Why is this attractive to people? Well, not everybody has money for a down payment. Not everybody wants to get tied up for 30 years at a 6-7% interest rate. So this allows them to get into the real estate investment world without having to actually purchase the property. And let's say they sign a 1 year lease on the home, they can sign another 2, 3, 4, 5 year lease extension with the landlord and still keep collecting the cash flow. So it's a lot lower risk than purchasing a property.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you remember kind of, you said month three was the first 100K.
Yep.
Do you remember what was the biggest month for you guys and at what point in the timeline that was?
Yeah, I was actually just back at it, looking back at the financials. Our biggest month was March 2024, and we did $629,000 in 1 month, cash collected, not revenue.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Um, at the time, it was normal. I think we're like a little bit. I mean, in my opinion, like we were just focused on growing. We were just focused on the tasks at hand. We were focused on improving the product. So a lot of things going on to where during that time you look at it and you're like, oh wow, we had a great month, right? Record month. But now, after having a year, 2 years to kind of digest everything, it was like, wow, that was crazy. That was crazy to do. Took a lot of work, and you just kind of remember, like, the feeling at that time of like stress and a little bit of anxiety on, hey, we have to grow on top of this, kind of like the pressure of keeping up with this. So at the time you don't really think about it, but looking back, you kind of just remember those days. And I would say those days were probably like one of the best days of my life, like growing and waking up and exactly where you're going to work on. And I'm able to have that contrast now because we sold the company and I took a year off. So you're able to kind of sit back and be like, I went from really, really busy, really stressed out to now kind of picking and choosing what I want to do with the day, right?
I think yesterday you gave me a stat of like, what's the percentage of businesses that actually end up selling?
Yeah, the percentage of businesses that actually sell is like less than 10-15%. If you're an online business, it's like less than 5%.
When you guys started, did you know the goal was to sell? When did that idea become the goal for you guys in the company?
So we actually had a friend who sold his marketing agency and we were asking him a bunch of stuff about their business, and they sold for over $1 million, and they were like, we were declining revenue, lost team members, lost clients, and they still sold for $1 million. And we were like, what if we could sell our business and prepare ahead of time to sell the business so that when the time comes, the buyer wants it, and it's ready.
When did you have that thought? Like year one,
I
couple
would
months
say
in?
1.5 years in.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were like, hey, we talked to a broker. We talked to that exact broker that our friend sold his company with. We talked to that exact broker, and he's like, hey, most buyers want the business to be at least 2 years old. We were 1.5 years at the time. We're like, cool, we got 6 months to keep this going, and we're gonna go to market literally on the year 2 mark. And that's exactly what we did. When we went to market, we had some issues with our broker, so we found a new broker, and the whole process. I mean, the whole process took literally a whole year. Um, but yeah, that's how we found out, was that, hey, if our friend sold a business that was declining for over $1 million, how much can we get for our business? And we started doing a bunch of research. We basically found out that, number one, you always want to build a business to be able to sell one day. The reason why is because you want to have that option, and you're going to build a healthier business. You shouldn't really build a business that relies on you and only operates if you're there, right? So we found that out. The second thing is, you shouldn't rely on one traffic channel. So that's why we started going, ham on organic content, because we were like, hey, we
From
can get
TikTok to Facebook.
yeah,
ads,
exactly.
organic.
TikTok, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We were doing all of them, and we wanted to kind of diversify where we're getting our revenue from. The third thing that buyers want is cash flow, growing cash flow specifically, because once the business starts going down, your business isn't really worth much, right? It gives them opportunities to lowball you. So we pretty much knew the formula of what it took to grow the business and sell it, and we pretty much put that in motion starting 1.5 years in of running the business. We're like, hey, we just need to keep growing and put it on the market year 2, because another stat, most businesses only survive 5 to 6 years. Online businesses, it's less. How many people we know in the online space that shuffle around offers every 3 to 4 years?
Yeah.
We didn't want to be
every other year.
Yeah, we didn't want to be one of those guys, right? We're like, hey, we want to run it up, and we want to build an awesome company where a buyer wants to come in and take over and take that thing to the next level.
Wow.
Yep.
And what had to change? Were you guys already running the business to get it ready to sell? And what changed when you realized you wanted it to sell?
What changed from when we wanted to sell
Yeah.
in terms of,
Like, what were you doing before? For example, the dancing monkey, not the buyer not wanting the face, the owner to always be in the ads. Kind of what had to change to prepare the business uh, for you guys specifically in your company to get it ready to sell?
so previously, by the way, if I look super red on camera right now, it's because this guy made me take a shot beforehand, and I got the Asian glow. So just letting you know ahead of time.
Why?
Just FYI, yeah. But previously with the company, all of our faces were all over everything. The ads, the sales funnel. We were taking sales calls here and there, but the business pretty much relied on us. And the biggest thing we needed to do was change the business to where it did not rely on us hiring managers, having team members being able to make decisions on their own and implement ideas on their own, to where we weren't doing the coaching calls for our clients anymore, or the consulting calls for our clients. We had consultants and coaches doing that, right? And there was a point where, when we accomplished all of that, I think I was probably taking 3 or 4 calls a week, so 4 hours of work. And JR was probably doing the same, 3 to 4 hours a week, which is 3 to 4 hours of work. And the business was spitting out, I'm going to talk profits here, but the business was spending out 200 to 250 a month in profit. and we weren't involved in any of that stuff.
Mm.
That's what makes a business a transferable asset. It's, hey, here's the stuff that we're doing in our business, and here's how many hours we're working in it. And when a buyer looks at that, I mean, we sold our company to a VC firm in Canada. And when a buyer looks at that, it's really attractive because they say, okay, if we have that foundation and we can implement new products, if we can cut some costs down, if we can implement new advertising strategies, we should be able to 2x, 3x the business again, right? So they're playing a different game than we were playing. We were the 0 to 1 founders. They want to be the 1 to 10 investors. So that's something that I learned throughout the process too.
That makes sense. It sounds like you kind of had to spend more money on team and actors to get yourself out of the business, which
right.
might be difficult for business owners to have that mindset shift of, hey, I'm gonna take less profit here to get the business ready for an exit and build enterprise value. How did you feel any of that? Of like, hey, we might take less to build this thing, and how did you get over that if you did feel it?
Yeah, we just ran the math. Like, hey, we spend 10 grand a month for the next year hiring team members that we need to be able to prepare us for an exit. That's 120 grand that we spend in 1 year. But we get the exit and it happens, we got a 4.2x multiple. That's super high leverage in terms of the return on capital, right? So, and it's not, and we were spending an extra 100. I'm just using examples, but let's say you're spending an extra 120 grand a year, but someone's like, hey, I'll pay you 4.2x of your profit. Yeah, you take a little bit of a hit on profit, but you open that door for that 4.2x multiple on what you're going to get in the finish line. So we pretty much just knew, and you talk to a lot of buyers, you get to understand what they look for, right? And the common theme is a lot of buyers don't want to come in and have to fix a bunch of stuff. I guess the last thing they want to do. They want to come in and build on top of what you've already built. So yeah, that's it pretty much.
You just ran the numbers you need.
Yeah, ran the numbers.
And I feel like that's a part of your skill set as well that you had, is being very data driven. Could you talk about let's just say the last year of owning the business, what your work, your responsibilities inside of the business look like?
Yeah, so the last year, I would say my responsibility was sales, like sales organization, right? So putting a sales manager in place. Obviously, it's not as easy as taking your top salesperson and putting them as a manager. Learn that the hard way, right? So sales organization, marketing system. Obviously, you helped us with that, right? We needed to hire actors, different faces. We hired a male actor, we hired a female actor. Sounds funny, but we hired different ethnicities, right? We wanted to see the responses on each one because a buyer will 100% pull out of buying your company if you put actors in place and the marketing system and sales system just goes downhill. Because then you're pretty much just showing them ahead of time that it does not work without the owner faces. And yeah, that's where you helped us out with, and filming those actors and being able to edit those videos to where it didn't feel like they were actors, right? So sales org, marketing, ad creatives, those were my three main things pretty much on the last year as we were preparing. The last year of business before we sold, honestly, I remember all of it, but the main thing I remembered was the whole entire acquisition process, because that was a different beast itself.
Yeah, let's go into that. For a lot of people, they might not even know what that conversation even looks like. Like, could you walk us through the start of actually starting the exit process to exiting?
Yeah, so I'll try to give you the condensed version of it, but pretty much once you hit that 2 year mark and your business is in position to go to market, like all the things that I said, right? Diversify revenue, have a team management in place, um, have the business basically just not rely on you, and obviously have good cash flow, growing cash flow. Once we had all of that in place by the 2 year mark, you go to market, you sign with the broker, and the broker starts posting your business up for sale, start contacting their their list of investors that are looking for businesses, and we basically interviewed a bunch of different buyers. The reason why I say we interviewed buyers, not the other way around, it's because you want to make sure, one, that buyer is a good fit for the business. Two, the buyer will actually go through with buying the company. There's so many people out there that say a lot of stuff, and you say, hey, can I see proof of funds? And they don't have it. It's crazy. But once all those check out, they send a LOI, which is a letter of intent, basically saying, hey, we would like to buy your business at X price and X multiple. And the offer looks good. You sign and you go under due diligence.
How long did that process take for them to negotiate with buyers to finding the right buyer?
That would probably, from when we signed with the broker, went to market, interviewed buyers, and finally signed with a buyer, that process took about 3 months.
Wow.
And it could be longer depending on the business, right? If your business is not super attractive, that thing can take 6 months.
Gotcha.
Right?
So for you guys, probably even the first people you interviewed were somewhat interested, but you guys were trying to pick.
Yeah, we were trying to pick the best buyer, and also we wanted to the best buyer with also a good cash up front and good terms for the rest of the funds that
Gotcha.
that's not going to be cash up front. So those are the most important things, because people think, oh, I sold a business for $20 million. People think that you literally get a $20 million wire. That doesn't always happen. It's rare. It happens, but it doesn't always happen. I think like that stat's even lower. It's like 0.5% of businesses are all cash transactions. So yeah, it's something to know.
Are you able to talk about your transaction?
I can't say, because I'm under NDA. I can't say the exact price,
Okay.
but I'll let you ask one over under number,
Okay.
and I can tell you what it's over under.
Okay, over under $1 million.
Over.
Valid.
You can do one more.
Over under 3.
Over, and we'll leave right there. We'll leave it at that.
So 3 months of kind of finding the right buyer in the market, then you sign with the right buyer, and then you start the quality of earnings process.
So quality of earnings and due diligence. Once you sign with the buyer, the work now begins, right? It's like the buyer is gonna basically put a microscope under your business and look at every little thing that's wrong, or find reasons why they want to back out. They're not looking for reasons why they want to buy,
or negotiate the price down.
Or use something as leverage to negotiate the price down. And that's also another thing, right? People think that the offer that you received right off the bat is the offer that you're going to get, or the offer the buyer has to stick to. That is false. The buyer is constantly trying to lower the price down, and that's why they do due diligence. That's why they do quality of earnings. We'll kind of dive into it, but due diligence, basically looking at the entire business, trying to find things that are good and that is wrong, things that are not good, and they're trying to find things to leverage to lower the price. Quality of earnings is that they put a microscope under your financials in your bank account.
Who does that? Like they hire someone?
Yeah, they hire a firm. That
Lawyers?
Yeah, it's a quality of earnings firm. They have lawyers. They have financial specialists.
This is legit.
That one, I looked at it on our purchase agreement, but that one thing, the quality of earnings by itself, and that process took a month. That earnings report by itself costs $50,000.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right? So think about how much a buyer has to invest
just to
close on a deal, right? And there's a lot of things that they have to invest in to be able to, legit check the business. So quality of earnings, they put a microscope under your financials. They're looking at every single dollar that was processed and every single dollar that went out of the account. And then once they do that, they give you a whole list of your transactions that went in and went out. And they start questioning, like, what happened here? Why did you send this? Why was this more than the previous month? Yada, yada, yada. You have to have an explanation for every single one of them while you're doing due diligence, while you're trying to keep the business up and growing. Because remember, the buyers are incentivized to make you deal fatigue because then they have better leverage. And if the business starts trickling down, they can start negotiating the price down. So our entire process took about 8 to 9 months. Think about when you get to month 6, 7, 8, 9, you're like, I just want to close at this point. So when the buyer hits you with some negotiations, you're not willing to spend a whole hour trying to negotiate, right? And yes, the broker does a lot of stuff, but the broker can only speak on your behalf for so many things, right? So
did you know this before,
no,
or
did not know this.
Now you're
Yeah, did not know this. You kind of just, it's one of those things that you have to do in order to know, which is why now, I'm consulting different companies on basically growing, building, and getting ready for an exit. Because I think, like I said, I'm a big believer in all business should build and scale and potentially and exit one day. And if you don't know what you're doing and you do exit, I promise you're gonna get lowballed for your company. Yeah, and you can only do it one time. Once the company's sold, you can't go back and be like, oh hey, I want a little bit more money for this. Like, once it's done, it's done.
I love it. So I want to break into 3 different categories. Number 1, the exit. Number 2, sales. 3, marketing. In terms of what's your biggest advice for an entrepreneur in each one to be exceptional and great at exit, exceptional and great at sales, exceptional and great at marketing?
Yeah, so the easiest one that we did in our sales organization and what I did to learn sales, so on the sales component, on the sales side, the easiest thing to do is just take more reps and have a faster feedback loop. Meaning, if you need to ask your friend on a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night to get on a Zoom call with you so you can practice your sales pitch, the more you do that, the better you're going to get. Okay?
Reps.
Then on top of that, right after you're done with that, wait for the recording to process and you watch it. And you watch it over and over and over again. You critique yourself for every single word and every single sentence that you're saying. So the way I learned this strategy was when I was playing football. I didn't mention this earlier, but I got a scholarship. I had 12 scholarships to play at NCAA universities, quarterback. And when I got to college, one of the things that they did was you go out, you run the offense. Every single drive, once you're done, whether it's a touchdown, whether it's an interception, whatever happened on that drive, when you're going back on the sideline, when the defense is on the field, you're literally watching film that they just shot from up there.
You're not watching the game. You're watching your last play.
It's an instant feedback loop. You throw an interception, when you're going to the sideline in about 15 seconds, you're about to watch exactly why you do that interception. So it's the same thing with sales. You need to go on the field, actually put it out there, make the reps happen, and then it's a fast feedback loop. Learn and study exactly why you missed something or exactly why you did well on something. So yeah, we did that with our sales team. We had in the beginning, it was we had one salesperson at the time when we were first starting up. They would take a sales call. When it processed, they would send it to me. I would watch it, and I would literally call them in between a break or a no-show. I would say, hey, here's what you did wrong. Here's what you need to do. Let's do it on the next call. Because the last thing you want to do is the salesperson messes up on the first call of the day, and they have 6 more calls on the rest of the day. They're just going to carry that all into the rest of the calls. And, pretty much that day is burnt, right? So fast feedback loop. The second thing on the marketing side, this too, it's just constantly testing creatives, constantly testing your messaging, constantly testing different ad strategies, right? And I just made a video on this today, but when I mean testing different ad strategies, creatives, etc., and different ways to put your message out there, you still want to stick with the basics and have one strategy, one offer, one product, like just one of everything to make it as simple as possible. Because in the beginning, you just need the data. That's it. Like you just need simple data where you can, look at and be like, cool, I need to improve, improve, improve. And then slowly, when you're scaling and you're spending a ton of money on ads, then that's where you start, diversifying and having different platforms, different strategies, messaging, creatives, etc. Like you look at Coca-Cola, you look at McDonald's, they always have different kinds of commercials, different influencers on their commercials, right? They're trying to test because they're spending, honestly, I would say probably hundreds of millions, if not billions, a year on marketing. So they have to constantly test. Um, on the exit side, I would say something that we did do that not a lot of people are willing to do is that the broker you work with or the person you work with to consult or help, because we hired consultants too on top of the broker we work with. The consultants and the people that you work with to sell your company are super important. And the first broker and consultant we work with, we actually fired them, even though we already got an offer and signed on an offer. We fired them and we got a new person because we didn't have confidence that that person was going to take us to the finish line. A lot of people in that position would have been like, I already signed this deal. Like, I don't really trust this broker or like this broker or consultant, but I'm just going to stick with them because there's a lot of money on the line. Right. But we weren't afraid of that. And it just goes back to that saying the person that needs the deal the most to happen is the one that often loses. Right. So we were in that position. We were like, hey, we're willing to walk away from this deal because if it doesn't happen or we find a new broker and this still doesn't happen, worst case, we'll hold the business and keep trying until it's sold. But luckily, the second person we hired ended up working out.
Beautiful. Yeah, something that came up in the sales side to kind of go back into the how sports is similar to business. It seems like from just observing you doing business, like you weren't in business for a long time before. You're like couple of 2-3 years, if that, in business before kind of your home run. But it seems like you were dialed in as a leader, as the leader of the company, as a sales leader, because of a lot of the skills and lessons you learned playing sports your entire life. Like, I definitely learned some of those lessons as well, but didn't play it at the same level you did. So what are some lessons there that you feel like immediately transitioned over to your success in business?
Yeah, well, one, you make a good point there about how sports transition into business. I'm a big believer in that if you were a ex college athlete, ex professional athlete, or even ex high school athlete, and you play at a high level, the chances of you being a successful business owner is pretty high, in my opinion, because a lot of the stuff translates, right? So, as little as or as much as like having discipline, being a leader, understanding that some games you lose, some games you win, understanding what I always say is the next play mentality, right? In each sport, there's always another play.
The next shot, like your neighbor says.
Exactly.
Tell them about the neighbor. LinkedIn post. Tell them about it.
Which neighbor?
Your neighbor. He lives on your floor. The guy that posts.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah. I mean, if you see this, I think what's his name again? It's like
Spencer.
Yep. Spencer. He plays on the Nuggets, and I think so. He's really big on LinkedIn, and he always posts like a bunch of inspirational stuff and all this stuff about how his journey playing in the NBA. And he had in one single week he had 2 game-winning shots that were made on him. And one of the things he talks about was that sometimes you show up and things don't go your way, but you have the next play, you have the next game, you have the next day, and you can't carry that loss into the next one, right? So in business, it translates
Same
perfectly
thing.
because it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I had one bad day in business. I had a ton of people that were complaining. My sales team was not closing. My
Someone quit.
someone quits, or I have to fire somebody. It's terrible, but the next day you got to show up again and you got to bring it, and you cannot show up to your team and say, yeah, I'm really not feeling it, right? You got to start the new day with new energy and a new force, right? Because you can't let that last play affect your next play, because things compound. I'm a big believer in whether it's negative or positive, things compound, right? So I mean, you notice when bad things happen, a lot of bad things happen. When it rains, it pours. But when good things happen, a lot of good things happen too. And it's just the common law of compounding.
Yeah, I saw you reposted the I think the March Madness game where
Oh
there's two
yeah,
3 pointers just shooting the
yeah.
entire game missing.
I love that
It
one.
was like 9 shots, and then
He might put a clip on here, but if not, you can search it up. This is the March. Oh yeah, the March Madness video where one of their star players in probably his most important game of his collegiate career,
not making he
he
was
was
missing.
like 0 for 7 on his 3-point shots, and the game was on the line, and he made the last shot,
But he kept going.
and
That's
he
what they were
kept
showing.
going. And guess what? That last shot erased all of his misses that
They
he
won.
missed, because they ended up winning the game because of that shot. So imagine if he was in his head and he was like, you know what, I missed all these shots. It's not going well for me. I suck. Right, negative talk in his head, and
Mm.
the ball gets in his hand for the game winner. What's the likelihood that he's going to miss with all that negativity going on? Pretty high, right? But I bet you anything, he was sitting there and he was shooting those shots like, I'm gonna keep doing it and I'm gonna make one, right? So that's exactly what you should be doing when you're starting entrepreneurship, and something even to this day I still do when I'm helping
Life.
companies, and I'm coaching companies, and even in life in general, right? Even in my marriage too, right? Like, not, in business and life and marriage, not every single day is all dandy and perfect, right? We all know that.
I love it. Kind of going back to when that when that juicy wire hit your account, it seemed, and at least in my head, it seems like just overnight like that, you get this insane amount of money for all the hard work you did. How did you feel? Do you remember? Did you cry? What happened?
Yeah. So that day was probably one of my most interesting days. Not that, it was life changing, but it was also a weird feeling. It wasn't what I pictured or expected. Now I'm super grateful. I'm in a I'm in a very blessed position, and I'm lucky for something like that to ever happen in my life, and something that I never really, you know, envisioned when I was starting this online business journey or in entrepreneurship in general. But you kind of have a picture or a scenario in your head on how you would feel, or what you think might happen when XYZ happens. But then when you get in that position, it doesn't happen, and you don't really feel that. It's kind of a trip between, like, you start questioning, is this really it? Like, is this what it feels like? And then you start questioning, will I ever feel like kind of excited, or will I feel, is all of the stuff that I'm dreaming about or thinking about doing in the future, is that scenario even going to happen? Like, am I going to feel that way? And you start questioning a lot of things. But what I realize is that it, something that I've always carried with me is like, you want to stay level headed. You want to stay even keel. So it's not a bad thing that I didn't feel much, but it's also not a good thing that I didn't feel much. And I've kind of accepted that, and it's okay, because everyone's going to feel different emotions. Um, that day when the wire hit, I just knew it was life changing. Talk to my wife, say, hey, it happened.
Life's gonna change.
Life's gonna change. Well, kind of change in terms of the security, not necessarily lifestyle, because we kind of already, have all that. And plus, I already, prior to that, I've already lived the life that I wanted to live. So at that point, it was just more money.
Mm.
Um, but you just kind of remind yourself that money isn't money isn't everything, right? Like I felt more excited going to the beach with my family, right? Like um previously 2 months ago I went to the beach, Santa Monica Pier, with my wife, my brothers, my mom, and randomly we just went on a roller coaster ride. We're like, let's jump on that roller coaster ride. And I just remember I'm like, damn, like
Mm.
that was more exciting than the wire that hit on the exit.
Being
So
able to do that with them, given those experiences.
exactly. So then I realized it's about the experiences and the people that you're experiencing those experiences with. It's about the freedom. It's about the security. It's about being able to bless others as well. Not necessarily just having more money. Yes, the money has brought me, my wife, and my family more security, and being able to be in a better financial position, be able to be in a position where I can work on things that I really want to work on. But yeah, you just get reminded that money isn't everything.
Yeah, beautiful. I remember, if you're comfortable with sharing kind of a little bit more personal, I remember after the exit, we had a little get together, and you played a video, which was very emotional, of
Yeah.
like everything we did. But in the beginning of the video, you gave a massive shout out to your wife.
Hmm.
Could you explain kind of, or talk us through kind of her role in helping you exit, and how important she was in that?
Yeah. So kind of going way back to our love story, right? Not It's not something that we share with a lot of people, but our close people know the story. So we met through social media, and we met up. First date, unofficial date, was in an In-N-Out parking lot. We got In-N-Out. It's like, if you're from California, you kind of know this.
The first date spot.
Yeah, it's like the first date thing, right? You go to the drive-through, get In-N-Out, you sit there, you talk, and I didn't think anything. I didn't think anything of it, because prior to, I was in college at the time, and I was visiting back home.
Mm.
Um, I was at a party with one of my friends, and she was getting off work, and we're like, let's meet up. So I was like, cool, this is probably gonna be in like an hour, 2 hour max. We ended up sitting there talking for like 6 hours till like 3 a.m. in the morning. And then we started seeing each other more. Started realizing, hey, we like being around each other, and we want to pursue a relationship. Well, I needed to go back to school, because I got a scholarship, and I literally told her, we were together for 3 months. I was like, hey, I have all these scholarships. I'm going to visit all these schools, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm trying to go as far as possible
Mm. What does that
from my
mean?
hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to go far as possible from my hometown. And the thought process behind that, in terms of why I wanted to go as far as possible from my hometown, was because I've already moved from the Bay Area to Southern California, which is about a 6 hour drive, but still I'm away from my hometown. I went to SoCal for junior college. I went there for 2 years, and at that time I had massive personal growth. I made a bunch of new friends. I started developing new hobbies, new interests. Was playing football, and I was just in a totally different place and environment. And I thought to myself, if I had that much growth being 6 hours away from my hometown, imagine how much growth I will have if I moved away as far as possible in a totally different state where I know nothing about.
Where'd you move?
New Hampshire. Yeah, literally. Not, it was perfect though. It was like little small state, small city of Manchester, New Hampshire, but still I was about 45 minutes away from Boston, right? So if you want that city life, you can drive there. But anyways, once I figured that out, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be leaving to college, and I want you to come with me. Do you want to go? I'm going to New Hampshire. And without any hesitation, she was like, yes. And the reason why I wanted to ask her this is because it was kind of a test. It was like if there was hesitation, if there was a no, I would rather not get too attached or too close with this person if I knew it was going to end in a couple months, because I wasn't going to do long distance with me being in in
Sure.
sports, because when you get a scholarship to go play a sport, this can be a discussion for a whole nother time, but when you get a scholarship to go play sports, they basically own your schedule.
Yeah.
So they tell you where to be, when to be, and you better be there or your scholarship is gone. Right. So I knew I needed to figure out whether my wife was going to be the one. And when she said yes and we moved and we got our apartment, I was like, this is the one. Right. And, from there, we built a life together. We've been with each other for almost 8 years now. We just got married last year, and she's seen it all with me. Seen me in college, seen me like she would literally come with me to do DoorDash deliveries to make money when I was in college. She was there when I said, "Hey, I'm gonna put 5,000 on a credit card to start my online business." She was there with me to help build the business that we just
Yeah.
sold. She was there. She was one of our very
Employees.
first employees. Yeah, and yeah. Now we have an awesome life together. First year in marriage, it's been great.
So it seems like you've had success in business and luckily in your relationship. What would be just some a piece of advice for a little guy like me trying to make it in this world with the girls, with the ladies?
Um, I mean, it's like totally different positions. One, and we want totally different things, and same with people that's watching. So I can only speak for myself. But I knew that I wanted to have a marriage. I knew that I wanted to commit to one person. I knew I wanted to build a life with someone that wants to build a life with me equally, right? And when Monica and I were in New Hampshire and it was just us two, and we went through COVID and all that stuff, I was like, you know, it doesn't matter what I'm going through or what it is or what experience. I just know I want this person, with my wife, to be there with me. Doesn't matter what we're doing, where we're at, what I'm going through, whether it's good or bad. As long as this person's here with me, I'm happy, right? So, um, I mean, as us as guys and most men, like we all know, we're pretty simple. Like we don't need a ton of things, and um, that's one thing that I wanted. So I was like, okay, I need to put in work in my relationship at the time, put in work now in my marriage, put in work into business. Like it's not gonna come easy, and it's not gonna be all sunshines and rainbows every day. But as long as you know, hey, I'm committed to you, you're committed to me, whatever it is that's going on between us, we're gonna figure it out, we're gonna work through it. It's just like business, and it's just like life, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a big piece of advice you gave. I think a group of us we were sitting together talking about this 2 3 years ago, and you said, yeah, you got to work on your relationships, like you work on your business if you want them to grow and succeed.
You just, I mean, I've talked to so many. I mean, we know a lot of people in the online space, or even just in entrepreneurship or a business owner in general, where they're so good at business, and then you
Shitty
ask,
people or
yeah, and then they're just around like shitty friends, or the relationships. It's just like they're with someone for 3 months and then it's done, and then they're like, oh yeah, it was this person's fault, and it's like, bro, are you gonna fire your employee if they make one little mistake, or if they don't agree with you on something, right? Like you're not gonna do that. You're gonna be like, let's figure out a way how to meet in the middle, or let's figure out a way on how we could do both things, right?
be
That
a leader.
I'm suggest, yeah, basically just being a leader, right, and being collaborative, like the same thing you're doing in business, the same thing you're gonna do in relationships and friendships, right?
Love it. Kind of switching gears, kind of more for me specifically. I've been thinking a lot recently, And I think it's your fault, bro. I think it's you and JR's fault that you guys had to exit your company and fucking be super successful. You just had to do that. So my brain is like, where is the real opportunity now after seeing like, yes, only 15% of businesses sell, but it's possible. You're right here. You're a real person. You did it.
Mhm.
Where is the real opportunity? Is it in the building a high profit niche YouTube coaching, consulting info business, which is crushing it right now for a lot of people we know. So that seems like a great opportunity, as well as the building enterprise value seems just as good, if not
Mhm.
a better opportunity. So I'd love to kind of get your thoughts around that for my situation in specific.
Yeah, so in terms of opportunities, the easiest one, something that everybody says is like AI, right? Okay. But remember, you searching up stuff on ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok on, some things to build a business that you're not built. That's not building an AI company. Like people that are building AI companies, we know they're building AI companies. Like they're building something that can't, it's not easily um, duplicatable, or something that somebody can just copy over one weekend. So I'm gonna put AI to the side because AI is, you have to be, I would say, an exceptional founder to build an AI product. If you're, um, looking for a great opportunity, I think because of AI and because of the remote work, I think a lot of people say info businesses or coaching businesses, or service-based businesses are going out of style, but I actually think those are even going to become better. Why? People are going to want personality again. People are going to want that direct face-to-face again, right? They don't want to just be sitting trying to talk to AI on how to figure out certain problems, right? They want people to be like, they're going to want people to look at them through the camera or in person, however you're doing your service delivery, and be like, you need to do XYZ, you need to cut this off, you need to do this. And that's something that AI is not going to tell you easily, right? So I think that space is going to come back. And
Some people crushing it there still. It have been for a long time.
a lot of people are doing it. And I think right now the best way to do that is, yes, leveraging AI to reduce your operational costs, right? So
keep the profits high.
before, you know, we built our company to 600 grand a month, but we were doing 2 to 250 a month in profit. Okay, sounds good, but that's like 35% profit margin. Well, what if you can build a business that's doing 250,000 a month, so half the revenue, but you're taking home $200,000 a month, which is like what, 70-75% profit margin.
Less stress from the expenses.
You're enrolling less clients, you have less team members, you have less stress, but you're doing the same exact amount of profit. So I think that's where you can, that's where the opportunity is, right? It's like leveraging AI to do things inside of your business, not trying to go and start a AI company.
I agree. I agree. So, and how does that leveraging AI to build this info service business? How does that compare to just going all in on building enterprise value company from the beginning, a marketing agency that has managers, actors, has predictable, reoccurring, and somewhat decent profit margins? Which one would you go into? You play both games. How do you look at that?
Yeah, so there's two things. One, if you're gonna go the digital marketing service based route, right? And there's a lot of service based besides digital marketing. There's
Video production.
lead generation, video production, credit repair, funding. There's so many different kind of service based businesses, ads business, email marketing, etc. If you're gonna go that route, obviously, you can reduce, you still need people to help you with service delivery. You can still reduce costs by hiring overseas people. They're very, very, very smart. Our team had at one point 10 people overseas from the Philippines that were paying $5-6 an hour that produce exceptional work. And $5-6 might not sound a lot, but that's literally doctor salary in the Philippines, right? So they're loyal, they do great work, and you can reduce costs in that way, in a service-based business. And yes, you can leverage AI, but you're you might not be able to leverage it as much as, if you were running a info-based business. Okay, because with info-based businesses, it just involves education and what's inside your head.
Intellectual property, the
Intellectual.
brand.
Yep, exactly. And you can leverage AI to help you build all that stuff out, right? Like, oh, what should I teach these people first? What kind of curriculum should I have? Should I do one-on-one? Should I do done for you? Should I do you right? There's so many things that you can do with AI with the info business because it just involves you. Now, if you are thinking of running a information business, I think the trend is, or not the trend, or I think where the wave is going to is that nobody wants courses anymore. Nobody wants to stick their head in modules and watch course videos. People want the information from the person that they bought from. So something that I'm kind of working on is, yeah, right now I'm working with consulting. I'm consulting companies. I'm taking equity shares in company for my advisory. But something else that I want to do is take on more one-on-one clients. Like literally, there's gonna be no course. It's you work with me one-on-one. You pay me monthly, and I'm gonna jump on calls with you, and I'm gonna help you build this thing. And hopefully one day, if it's a good business, I will partner up and do a profit share or equity share with you. So I think that's the route. But
That's the bigger opportunity than trying to go the traditional enterprise value team.
yes, because nobody wants to do it, right? Everybody wants to have a business that I have a team, I don't need to be there, etc. And people want to do that because they're like, I want to make a ton of money without having doing too much work. Well, we look at like Alex Hermosi, you look at Grant Cardone, you look at a lot of the influencers that you probably watch. They're making millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. Grant Cardone's a billionaire. His face is still involved.
Yeah.
So to say, oh, I don't want to. We were just talking about this too. To be like, oh yeah, I don't want to do one-on-one because I don't want to talk to them. It's like you don't want to do it because you're not making enough per hour. If I said, hey, you're gonna make $10,000 to jump on a 1 hour call with somebody, you will do it.
Yes.
Like you would do it, no questions asked, right? But think about that for someone like Grant Cardone, who's a billionaire, right? If he knows probably every single call, he's making $100,000. So he's like, hell yeah, I'll do this. Why would I need to like streamline, automate these things, right? I know the question some people might be thinking is like, well, can you sell both businesses? Yes, you can. One business might be a little bit easier to sell, which is the automated, service-based business. The information business, you can still sell. I know guys that I was consulting with and talking with.
Jordan Welch is one of them.
Or yeah, Jordan Welch too, right? There's some things that you can remove that there are buyers that are still comfortable with it, as long as you're agreeing to like a 1 to 2 year transition period. Meaning you're gonna help when the buyer comes in and they buy the business, you're gonna help them for a year or 2 years. You're still getting paid a salary. You're gonna help them for 1 to 2 years to remove your face and to transition the business over to them, and they're still willing to buy the business. So
there's terms you can negotiate
exactly.
on, but
Yep.
what you're saying is having the opportunity of having the using AI to lower your expenses with the employees and building that massive business and brand seems like
Yep.
it's the exponential growth opportunity right now. And
Exactly.
kind of talking about how AI is saving us money by not having employees. I wrote a couple acquisitions here that I wanted to go over with you, recent acquisitions, and things going on in the world. But one of the things going on is Oracle fired 30,000 employees with one cold email at 6 a.m.
Crazy. Meta's about. I heard Meta's like about to fire 20% of their workforce too,
because they're using AI to cut their expenses. And I know you were just talking about the 35% profit margins, even at profiting 200K a month. You guys were spending 300-400K to hit those numbers. how many employees did you guys have, if you're comfortable with sharing, and kind of what did that payroll expense look like?
Yeah, our peak was 50 employees, 50 team members
Wow.
on staff. Um,
None at a local office, right? All remote,
all remote.
U.S. employees,
Yep,
different.
all remote. 80% was U.S. employees, 20% was overseas employees, mainly in the Philippines. But yeah, it was all online. Hired all over the U.S. and the Philippines. 50 employees. We were doing 250 a month in profit, but we also had to cover 250 grand a month payroll,
Wow.
plus
How did
spend.
that feel?
It's it. So to think about this, because we relied on, we had a strong LTV, we had a strong lifetime value per customer, right? Each customer, when we ran the data, we knew each customer was spending about $25,000 with us. So yeah, we would make 200 grand, but to make 200 grand, we would have to spend about 250 on team costs. We have to spend about 100,000 on ad costs. So meaning every single month, because we weren't a reoccurring business, we didn't have a reoccurring business model. Every month you start from zero. So you're having to, you're not really starting from zero. You're starting at negative, $250,000, because that's, you have to cover that in team costs, because anything up from there, you're making money, and then you have advertising costs. So we knew our baseline was like, we have to bring in a minimum of 350 per month just to cover all of the costs.
Did you ever have to go out of pocket to cover that cost?
So the last, and this is something, I've never shared. A lot of people, won't share this kind of stuff, but towards the last month or 2 months of our acquisition, before we sold the company, we had 1 month where we broke even, and then we had another month where we had to put money out of pocket back to business because we had a negative month. Now, why did that happen? Well, number one, deal fatigue. Our process took almost a year, and we were just like, when you're going through a process for 9 to 12 months, you have to understand that for 9 to 12 months, you can't fundamentally change anything in the business. Meaning you have to stay still, but also try to grow it at the same time. So your long-term visions and plans and ideas go out the window, right? So when it hits month 9, 10, 11, 12, like you're like, wow, we haven't changed anything or innovated anything for a whole year. Because if you do and the buyer doesn't like it, they're gonna pull out just like that, right? They're gonna be like, hey, I'm backing out. I'm too nervous about this change you're making. So that's what caused the kind of, stagnant growth and a little bit of a decline. But that also goes to show the kind of value and enterprise level we brought the business, because even then the buyer's like, I still want this business.
Why?
Right?
Why did he still want? I'm a buyer. I see right before I'm about to buy it, it goes negative. What? Why would I want to still buy that business?
Well, it also depends. It depends on the buyer too, right? The buyer, previously had multiple successful tech companies, SaaS companies, founded and sold those companies off. Wanted to get into the real estate and online coaching space. So the want was there from him, and also he kind of knew what he was doing, right? Like, delay the process, try to get a lower amount. They're gonna be beat to death from doing all this stuff. I'm gonna have more negotiating power, right? Because remember, he's tossing all this stuff for us to do.
Yeah.
Growing the business, doing all the paperwork, going through the due diligence, doing all of the quality of earnings, while he's kind of just sitting back watching the business, and how we're operating it and learning the business, right? So he kind of knew what he was doing. And then he also, the most important thing is, he already had a game plan ahead of time on how he was going to grow the business. So he already had a plan on what he was going to do. And, 1 or 2 bad months wasn't going to stop him from doing that.
What did you learn from him, from working with someone who has sold previous tech companies? Like, what did you learn about his style, his process, how he acted towards this whole situation?
Yeah. So throughout the process, I noticed that he was, number one, he was very even keel, which is something that I've already known, and it just reiterated and confirmed that this is a good skill set to have in business, right? Because
things go up and down
things
all the
go up and
time.
down all the time. There was things that we asked for, there was things that we didn't like, there was moments where we were stressed out and we kind of took it out on him, and he was just flat the whole time. And he took moments to be like, let me digest this, and I'll get back to you. Let me, I think we can do that, let me get back to you. So it was even keel, patient, and he just understood that no matter what throughout this process, like I think in his head, he kind of knew that he had a game plan on how he was going to get a better price. He kind of knew that this whole transaction would take long, but he had a very organized game plan on how he would one buy this business and grow it. And in my mind, I'm like, we weren't even that detailed in growth, right? It was just like, what are we gonna do next month? What are we gonna do next quarter? He was like, for the business, he had like next month, next quarter, the next 6 months, next year, and next 2 years. And even if, like, I was thinking about them, like, is that doing too much?
The
Like,
long-term thinking.
yeah, long term thinking, because he was making decisions today that were going to affect a year to 2 years out. And it was like I couldn't really grasp it, because in the online space, you're just like, how can we fix our ads next month? How can we make more sales next month?
It's always the next.
Yeah, not like, hey, we might have to take short-term pain for long-term growth. And he really showed that when he told us, yeah, my previous tech company, we were unprofitable for 4 years, and then the last 3 years we were extremely profitable, and we had a $50 million exit. I was like, okay, so he really ate crap for a long time, knowing one day this will turn around and pay off, right?
That's great. That's an interesting point, because it feels like a lot, especially in tech, a lot of companies are negative, or they have investors.
It's a common theme, right? Yeah.
That's how traditionally you would build high enterprise value, by being negative for months. But
Yeah.
on the online space, it's almost always bootstrapped, and
Yep.
you gotta be profitable, or else you it doesn't function.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how was his ideas around being unprofitable is okay, versus you coming in, say every month we gotta be profitable with this.
So you're saying, how did we end up? How did I feel like bootstrapping a company compared to?
Taking on that, and is that something you would consider
Yeah.
in the future, or did you like that kind of bootstrap, profitable first?
Yeah. So if you watch Shark Tank, it's funny because in Shark Tank, there obviously people are up there to look for one of those sharks, Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, to invest in the company. But if you notice, they're like asking the person about financials, asking them about a bunch of questions, and then you hear somebody be like, "Oh yeah, we own 80% of the business because we gave away 20% of the business because we needed to take on debt."
Yeah.
The first thing the sharks always ask is why. Like, why did you take on debt? Okay, so I think, yes, for tech, AI, all this stuff, it's necessary, right? Because you will grow faster if you don't have the money.
Yes.
A lot of tech companies do bootstrap, and the founders invest their own money, so that's two different ways. But you shouldn't want to like take on debt. It's not a cool thing to be like, I took on debt and raised $20 million. Well, exactly what our buyer told us is that when you raise money and you take on debt, it is no longer your business. You need to get the business to perform for the investors, right?
They have a say.
They have a say. Yeah. So it's no longer 100% your business. You are working for those investors now, and that's exactly why our buyer bought our company, because they're like, wow, you guys grew this fast. What, bootstrapping the business? You didn't need to take on debt. You didn't have any investors. It's like, cool. If I can do that with my previous company, he took on debt, he took on investors. If I can do that with my previous company, what can I do with this business, right? So I think that's his thought process.
Kind of going for the profit first model.
Yeah. I mean, I also have. I know we're asking me questions, but they also got to hear from you too. So I'm gonna flip the script on this
Oh,
as well.
oh.
Um, but same questions as kind of you were asking me, like how has it been growing a video business, service based business, right? Something we talked about. And I know you have clients here, you have clients that you travel with. How has it been running that kind of business, and what's something that you've learned running that kind of business where it does require you, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, first thing that comes to mind is just tying back that profit first mentality.
Mhm.
Uh, of just from month one, your expenses gotta be at a point where it's not eating into your profits that much for you to live the life that you want. And for me, for a very long time, was just being able to wake up at any time I want. Being able
That's
to
a big
use
thing, yeah.
being able to use I know that was a big one for JR. Being able to use your phone at any moment. I have a story of like at a job. I was already a manager and I had another person tell me like, hey, you're not supposed to be using your phone. And I knew I'm like, bruh, I do not want to work a job. Like even at a manager level there I can't do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for sure is getting my time back by having a super lean business
Hmm.
that I could charge a couple $1,000s for and literally have time to go visit my family, hang out with my friends, go do whatever I want, go eat at lunch at whatever time I want, go to sleep at whatever time I want. And that feels amazing. That feels amazing. But now, as I'm kind of starting to want more and seeing your guys' play and kind of seeing what you're doing now, helping businesses get to that point where they could exit, I'm starting to ask myself where my focus should be in and more growing this being able to continue a lifestyle of having my time freedom, low stress business, but being able to charge more for it, being able to do bigger deals, bigger partnerships with the skill set, or just going all in on, the marketing agency, putting the team members in place, getting the help and advice from you guys who have done it to at one point exit the company. Um,
Well, it's funny because, or I mean, it's interesting because we were just talking about high cash flow, high profit businesses is the move nowadays an opportunity, but you've been doing that. Like your business is operating at like what 90
yeah,
95% profit margin,
yeah, almost 100.
right? And it's like you don't need to have a bunch of meetings with your team. You don't need to, worry about people, doing random weird shit in your company or
Payroll.
payroll, like all that stuff. And um I think either way, like you can't go wrong whether
Yeah,
you keep
yeah.
it like that's this way. I mean, you keep growing it, eventually, obviously you will cap out, you can probably hire more people.
Hmm.
But I think either way you can't go wrong. And
Yeah. They're
well,
both great
you're
options.
and you're living exactly how you pictured it and the way you wanted it, right? Like
Yeah.
both you and I, we're traveling like every month. You're doing 17-hour road trips. I just saw you today. You pulled up coming back from El Pollo Loco at 2:30 in the middle of the day, right? And it's like, you definitely have that freedom
Mm-hmm.
running a business that requires you at 90-95% margins. So people that are saying, oh, I don't want to run a business where I'm doing one-on-ones or I'm meeting up with the client because I can't really make, I'm gonna get capped, I can't make a ton of money. It's like,
But charge what you think will be enough.
exactly. Yeah.
But that's all a mindset thing,
Yeah.
and it's literally all a mindset thing. Like I was telling you yesterday, I'm gonna pitch a guy 100K offer. Like I'm just gonna be like, hey, for this offer for the next 6-12 months, it's $100,000, and let's see what he says. But I never even thought it was possible for me to ask that of anyone until I go to an event and I see people doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Seb, this guy, he's not smarter than me. He's like not more charismatic than me. Like, but their mindset is there. They know they could do it. They know they could provide the value. So it's all been mindset for me. Another big thing. always has been ads for me. At any time, I'm like, okay, I need more attention. I need to get leads. I need to make people offers. I just go on my computer, take 20, 30 minutes and launch an ad. I remember doing this for the past 5 years. I launched ads for NFT projects. We launched ads for the Airbnb thing. We launched ads for on TikTok of like any moment we want to see if something's working, go after a new offer, promote even our personal pages. That skill set of being able to market yourself with paid advertisement, I think has been extreme, extreme lesson for me and something we worked on together to get you guys to the point to exit the company.
Yeah, it's a huge ROI lever, or ROI skill, right? To be able to understand how to craft an offer, how to film that offer, and how to put it in front of people and spend profitably, right? To where, I mean, our company was doing, 8x return on ad spend, right? With your help too. Um, and as time goes on, obviously return on ad spend goes lower and lower. And when we left the company, it was at 6-to-1 return on ad spend. And, if you don't know what that is, it's basically your return on your advertising dollars.
You
So
put $1 in.
you're putting $1 in to make $6 back.
Oh,
You're putting $1 million in to put $6 million back, right? So
how do you get to that point? And that's something we've been a skill set we've been trying to work on the past couple of years. How do we get to the point where we can put a message out there and spend $1 and make $6 back? How would you say that?
well, to put into contrast, right? The person that's spending $100 a day to where we were spending at our peak $3,000 a day, we're gonna get data much faster.
3 times faster.
Well, they're spending 100 and we're spending 3,000. It's almost 30 times
Oh yeah,
faster,
yeah,
right?
100.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
yeah. So 30 times faster. I hope we did the math right on that.
Right.
But anyways, we're spending a lot of more money and we're getting more data at a faster pace, which means we also are innovating and testing out different creatives that we probably launched maybe 1,000+ creatives at this point. Probably spent, I've probably spent over close to like $4 million on ads already. And I'm not gonna sit here and take all the credit. Credit also goes to you. Credit also goes to our media buyer, right? So like, what's important on top of all of the expertise, and once you learn it and once you understand it, is also hiring people that are better than you in those positions too, to come in that will ultimately help your business, but also help you keep on growing and keep on innovating stuff. So
Because you're a marketer, you could go in and launch Facebook ads, set up the funnel at any time you want, but
100%.
you have a media buyer that we're close with that you've been working on for a long time, because to get to that skill set where he's at, you're gonna have to dedicate time on information, money on coaching to kind of get to where he's at right now on that specific level. Same thing with the video stuff. You're like, I have a camera, I could turn it on, but why am I gonna do that if this guy has the skill sets to get us there?
Exactly. It's a perfect example. Recently, I just partnered with the company. I'm not gonna say the company or talk about the company because in this space people love
Walmart.
people love to copy. But anyways, I'm partnering with this company that they've been running for 2 years profitably already. And one of the things that I'm coming in to do is implementing an advertising strategy. And I'm bringing in my media buyer that helped us in our previous company. And this media buyer has experience with this specific industry in this offer. And he's spent money on ads and got it to work profitably. So when I told, the partners at the company, or the company that I'm advising, I told them, I'm like, hey, we're bringing on this media buyer and we're paying him X amount of dollars, and he's gonna work with us, he's gonna handle all this stuff. And they were like, Phil, with your expertise and the stuff you already know, and you've already helped us do a bunch of stuff and it's working out well, why do we still need him? And I was like, look, he's ran this similar offer, similar industry, similar product profitably at a high level.
He's done it already.
He's done it already. I haven't. I know how to get it to work, but I'm gonna have to test. But he's gonna give us the shortcut. I'm willing to pay a ton of money if someone that has the expertise to come in and to give me the shortcut.
Save you time.
Save me time, right? Save me money on testing. And that shows, the whole service based, info based businesses. That's why you're paying those people money, not because they're just giving you a service or information. They're giving you shortcuts to success in your business.
Got it. Yeah. So who would you recommend be your first hire?
You always should probably hire if it's just you, if you're a solo founder or a solo entrepreneur. You should probably hire someone that is opposite has opposite skill sets as you. So if you're good at sales, you should probably hire somebody that is good at lead generation. If you're good at sales and marketing, you should hire someone that's good at operations, right? So if you have a business partner or you're looking for a business partner, you should do the same thing. Look for someone that has opposite skill sets as you, because me and my business partner Jr. I don't really like calling him business partner because he's like best friend brother, right? So we have opposite skill sets. Yes, we could do
Same.
the same things. We could do all of them, right? But the fact that we were able to be like, hey, I'm really good at this, you're really good at that, let's focus 100% of our time and energy on this 50%. I mean, it's very hard to lose if you're able to do that and you're able to find the right person
But
to
it's
do that.
being willing to give up that control, being willing to. That's one of the biggest things about leadership too that I found. One of the quotes that stuck with me is sometimes being a leader means letting someone else lead
Yep.
who can lead better,
Mm-hmm.
right? JR is an amazing salesperson, but you were all in on the sales team. That was your thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So divide and conquer too.
Exactly.
Give us something juicy. What did you end up doing with after hitting those record months after exiting the company? Did you do anything fun? Buy anything? What'd you do? Or just sitting in the bank right now?
Most of it is sitting in investment accounts.
Okay.
After the exit, I didn't really buy much. I would say the best thing that I did buy that was worth every single penny was two things. One, the trip that we went on with me, you, my wife, trip to Japan. That
Crazy.
was awesome.
Throw some clips right here.
Yep, that was awesome. The second thing was our wedding, mine and my wife's
yeah.
wedding. That
Beautiful.
was awesome too. So those were worth the investments that pop up in my head. And prior to the exit, the money that we were making, what did I buy? I bought a G wagon. Now it was cool. Probably gonna sell it here soon because it's coming up on its miles. But it wasn't really. That was another one of the things where you're like, oh, I thought getting this car I would feel different, right? At the end of the day, you just realize it's a car. But it's been awesome to drive. We bought courtside tickets to the Miami Heat Denver Nuggets Game 1 NBA Finals.
You cool with sharing how much that was?
It was 10 grand a ticket, and
Oh.
bought me and my wife a ticket, so 20 grand. And JR bought a
for 2
ticket, and he
hours.
bought his wife a ticket too. So combined for four of us, it was 40 grand for
A night out.
a night out, pretty much. Do I think that was a good purchase? No. Do I regret it? No. I guess I'll just leave it at that. It wasn't a great
Mhm.
purchase, but it wasn't a bad purchase. So
Now
it was-
you experienced
you got to experience it one time, right? I'm not a big believer in just like hoarding and storing your money away. I think spending responsibly is obviously necessary and good, but I don't think you should, if you have a ton of money and you have abilities to be able to spend, it's not going to put you in a bad financial position, and you have years and years of runway, you should spend money on experiences, right? Because you don't want to look back when you're 50 and 60 and you're like, my retirement account hit. I finally saved all my money, and you don't even have energy to be on a 14-hour flight
If you may even make it that far, bro.
if you even make it that far, right? If you even make it that far. So
What are some things you spend your money on now, without feeling any unshamefully, and feel super good spending your money on, you think is worth it?
oh, it's always experiences, and it's and experience meaning mainly travel, and mainly, I mean, my wife loves this the most, but mainly spending ridiculous amount of money on nice hotels.
Yeah,
And when we went to Japan, we stayed at all nice hotels and nice
crazy.
Airbnbs, right? So spending money on those kind of experiences, and doing different hobbies like golf lessons, tennis lessons, piano lessons, like learning those skill sets, like
Food.
spending money on food, right? Restaurants, like I will never regret spending money on that, because I know the position that I'm into, and the position we're in. Like, we're in our 20s, and we have all this time, and or all this time freedom. Like, we're not really tied to a job. We have money,
Or
we have,
kids,
or
yeah.
yeah, our kids, and we just have so much that we can enjoy in life, and we would rather do it in our 20s rather than hoping that we make it to our 60s and 70s, and spending it all there. And obviously, I know, like, I'm not here to say the people that are doing that are doing it wrong. I'm just saying that I understand the position that I'm in, the position that we're in, and if we're able to do it, we should do it.
Okay. Got a couple more running long. We could literally talk forever, bro. But I'm just curious. Did you see the MyFitnessPal acquired Cal AI? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I use my fitness pal.
Yeah. Do you know what Cal AI is?
It's
So
like where you take a picture of the
exactly.
food. Yeah, yeah.
It's probably a ChatGPT wrapper, but this guy right here built a AI company where you take a picture of your food and it tells you the calories, protein, etc.
Yeah.
And they just got acquired by MyFitnessPal, undisclosed, but we could
Hey, see,
assume,
NDA, NDA.
but we could assume
Should
it
call him up, ask
was
him over under.
over under 30. But we could assume it was a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So, what does an acquisition like this, as someone who's exited their company, what does this look like? What does this tell you? How do you feel about something like this, of companies exiting at a high level like this constantly?
Okay, so the first thing, MyFitnessPal has acquired Cal AI. What MyFitnessPal is mainly paying for is the IP of Cal AI, because MyFitnessPal probably wants to integrate that inside of their app. So what are they doing here in short terms is they're paying for a shortcut. Cal AI figured out something that MyFitnessPal could bring in, merge in, and start monetizing immediately.
Mm.
So instead of them spending all this money trying to figure out what they're doing,
Yeah, yeah, buying all the employees, building out the
exactly,
product.
right?
Like they could have done that.
Yeah, trying to code a bunch of stuff. They could have done that. But they're like, why would we do that when we can just go buy Cal AI? Because one, they already figured it out. Two, they're doing it profitably, so we don't have to risk spending a bunch of money for it not to work. And three, they're probably stealing our customers. So why not they were, right? So why not just put it all in one, and we buy them out, and we own pretty much most of the market share.
So who won here?
Both Cal AI, the founder, probably life changing money, generational type money,
and he's super young, so he has opportunities in the future.
This deal was over 100 mil. Like, if we're doing over under, it's over 100 mil easily. And MyFitnessPal also won because they're like, from day one, they bring the market share, they bring the customers that they probably lost back into their ecosystem. They have a new product, or a new intellectual property that they're adding to their business to make it even stronger. So this is what you call a mergers acquisition, right? Where they're just merging companies into the same industry, into the same product line, essentially. Yeah. So, like, to put that into contrast of like what happened with our business, ours wasn't a merger. He didn't have the buyer didn't have a or the firm didn't have a previous company in our industry or our sector that they're merging with. Our buyer or the firm that bought our company, they're buying a standalone company. They're just buying a company to operate and build and potentially exit for more one day.
So there's different
Kinds.
ways
Yep.
to acquiring and exiting.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I remember this correctly. Do you
Depop.
know what Depop
Yeah,
is?
Depop. It's like another Grail, right?
eBay acquired Depop from Etsy for I don't know how much
If we're
millions,
talking over under, it's over 100 mil
over
again.
100.
Yeah.
So Depop, eBay buying Depop, and what I noticed here from eBay acquiring Depop, MyFitnessPal acquiring Cali I is the word teens or the younger generation. Depop for sure is
Yeah.
more of a everyone on there is probably 25 and under, if that, even probably younger. The majority of Depop's base. So it seems like eBay is not necessarily acquiring just the brand or the product, but they're acquiring kind of the attention
Yep.
that comes with this new uh this new era of social media and the new age of people.
Even what's that guy that founded Loom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a private equity firm that acquired Loom, but he's super young too, and he's known for his Reddit post that he made one day where he was like, "I sold my company for hundreds of millions of dollars, and now I'm depressed."
Mm,
And it's an interesting thing and something that I thought about. And obviously, I didn't sell for hundreds of millions, right? But
life changing money.
yeah, it's still life changing money. And I was like, trying to just like dig and see like how could somebody get depressed, or like how can they, like, they got all this money and they can do whatever they want, and they literally can do whatever they want, and yet they're still depressed. And I found out what it is. People think, the whole saying of like the grass is always greener, but it's not, right? The grass isn't always green on the other side. So I remember when I was working on the business and I was like, it's so much work, I'm stressed out, all this shit's going on, I just want to sell the business already and go do whatever I want, go travel and all this stuff. Then
You did that.
then you go and sell, and you go and travel, and you go and do whatever you want, and you're like, shit, I kind of miss working on something. I kind of miss the stress and the just being able to build,
Having the goals,
and
striving towards
having
something.
striving towards something. I think as a man,
Mhm.
you should always have something to work on, something that you're building, because waking up and not having a calendar full or not having anything to work on, I
That's
gotta
where you
admit, it is
get
depressing,
depressed. Yeah,
right? That's where you get depressed, because you're like, I'm not really building. You kind of just feel like a little useless. It's crazy to say, like,
You
obviously,
don't feel you are useless. You literally
you,
are
you just
useless.
kind of feel a little useless. So imagine like those guys that are building massive companies selling for hundreds of millions of dollars. They've had 10 times more. I mean, I wouldn't say 10 times, because we all have 24 hours, right? So we're all working,
Mhm.
24 hours. We're all working, what, like 8 to 10 hours per day. So that's max. You're working 16 hours. So I wouldn't say they were working more, but they were building big things,
Mhm.
right? And when you sell and you don't have anything to work on, kind of like fall down this hole where you're like, what is this? Like, is this really
I think it's because you
life?
have to get to that point in your business, you have to become somebody, a different person,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're still that same person, but you don't have that thing you're working on. There's still all these things inside of you of like, this is who I am.
You
I
still
am a leader. I
you
am that
want that
person.
growth. You still like, once you've grown and then you sell the business and you're like, but that gave me the growth. Like, that gave me the things to strive for, the end zone, the goalposts, right? And once that's gone, you're like, now I got to figure out how to like rebuild that. And I mean, I was blessed to be able to take a year off and kind of catch up on life, like travel, get married, go see my family. I saw my family this past year more than I saw them 3 years I had the business, right? So basically just catching up on life. But yeah, there were some days I was waking up, I'm like, bro, like, what
What
do
do
I
you
do?
do?
Yeah, what do you do? So then that taught me a great lesson for when I'm now back in business. It taught me a lesson of like, enjoy these moments, even if it's stressful. I even saw, uh, it's crazy to say, but I saw a tweet somebody posted, and he's a successful founder. I forgot what company, but he said something along the lines of like, he believes in order to grow and in order to make a ton of money, in order to be successful, you actually do need stress and a little bit of a unregulated nervous system, because that's what creates the urgency and the chip on your shoulder, right? And I know a lot of time people are like, I just want peace, I want happiness, and you also might be striving for something that might not be the feeling that you're
or
looking
what you
for.
really want.
Yeah, or where you really
It's
want,
not,
because
it's not really what
like
you want.
that's what I was doing. I was like, I want to exit, I want to travel, I want to be stress free, I want to be happy, do all these things, and you get there and you're like, actually, I was happier doing that. So now how do I get back to that? So I'm able to see both sides, and I'm really blessed to be able to see both sides to understand like how to optimize the next business to what I want in life. Right?
Could you walk us through what that next business for you is like and why you decided to go there?
Yeah, so the next business, it's not, I wouldn't say I have the next home run shot in mind. What I'm working on right now is working and consulting and advising companies and people that I enjoy working with. Like literally clients and partners that I enjoy talking to. Like I would go out and have a drink with them.
Because you don't need their money anymore.
I don't. Yeah, it's not about the money anymore. So it's in the main thing I'm looking for is like, do I enjoy working with these people? Do I think there's a great opportunity in this business right now? Do I think I can help grow and scale this thing? Do I think I can help these people grow their business and set them up to be able to be in position to exit one day? Because being able to achieve the things that I've achieved, like I want other people to also achieve it themselves. I don't want to just talk about it and be like, hey, I was able to do XYZ. No, it's like I was able to do XYZ, but what's most important is that the things that I've learned to do this stuff, I was able to help pass
Other
that on,
people
right?
do.
And it goes back to the same things to for a coach, for a master, for a mentor. It's like you're not a master of something by just doing it. You become a master of something by doing it and being able to teach others how
And
to do it,
others succeed in it.
right? And that's what mastery is, in in business and life and in relationship. Like that's the goalposts I'm striving for now, not the money.
Yeah, yeah. One of my clients, Josh Lyons, uh, one of his biggest offers and social proof is like, hey, I hit 100K a month as a closer, and he has now 5 closers in his program who have hit that, and he talks about it all the time of how that feeling of seeing the people you helped reach that point
Mm-hmm.
kind of feels way better than just only doing it yourself.
For sure.
But that's what you need first. You need to dedicate your time and be exceptional yourself first, for then other people to be susceptible to your advice and actually listen because you did the damn thing. So why am I not gonna listen to this?
Gotta lead by example, right? You gotta lead by example, and the life that you live, if you're showing that to other people, you're gonna attract those people that want to live the life that you want to live. And I'm not saying, by attract those people by going out and buying a Lambo or going by the penthouse. Like
That's
I
not
would
the
say, like
purpose.
I'm a regular guy that learned online marketing, online sales, live a, I mean, I wouldn't say a normal life, but I would say, I live a good life, a life that I built and envisioned, and it's the cost of it is relatively low compared to my income, and I'm not letting lifestyle creep come at me, and I love the life that I'm living, right? And
Before you even
yeah,
exited,
before I even exit, and
you
that
were
is going
already
to attract people that want the same thing, right? I'm not attracting people that want a Lambo or Ferrari or wants the penthouse. I'm attracting people that want to be able to build and grow themselves personally, and in return their business is going to grow too. So
Yeah, this penthouse is not cheap, guys. So sign up for my course down below. $7 only.
yeah, buy his course.
Um,
Buy his
no
course.
course, no
Rent
course, no gurus,
rent
no
money.
nothing. Cool, bro. Yeah. So what what's next for you seems to be this business where you're working with the people you want, but as someone at your level who probably doesn't have to work if they don't want to anymore,
Mhm.
kind of what are you looking forward to? What are you striving for in your life?
Yeah, so kind of goes back to the mastery thing, right? Just being able to dig a little bit deeper into the stuff that I'm already good at and I
Gotcha.
understand, and just become just
Excellent.
yeah, bringing that to a high level, right? And before it was like, money, security, and obviously everybody should strive towards that. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not good. I know some people are like, hey, you shouldn't let money be your god, or money be the
The
thing that
only
you
thing.
always strive for. But don't let anybody tell you that it's good or it's bad. Like, if you need to take care of your family, you need to feed your family, you need to go and freaking
Make money.
make money to go and support and feed your family. If you want to go live that life you want to live, then yes, you need to go make money in order to live that life. So do what you need to do. But then when you get to a point where money isn't the issue anymore, or money, you don't have to
It's not
worry.
capping you.
Yeah, it's not. You're not worrying about money. Then you can go in and start, like peel back a little bit, and be like, what is it that I want to do? I still want to do business. Like, I still love business. I love the growth that comes with it. I
Building
love the energy, and yeah, I
the
want the
team.
stress, right? The team building, the stuff that you're able to accomplish. But I want to do that in a way to where I love the business, and I work on the business, right? And I own the business, not the other way around.
Mm.
So that's where I'm going, and I'm using that to be able to level up as a person, level up as a leader, level up as a friend, a brother, a husband, a son, right? Just it just kind of just spills over into everything else in your life. So now that I've
Mm.
sold the business and I've done the whole, kind of chase the money, I'm kind of peeling back and reinvesting into myself, and so that it could pour into all the other things.
Well,
Yeah.
so just continuing to level yourself up, self mastery
Yep.
in all aspects of your life.
Exactly.
If someone wanted to work with you, with help getting their business to a point of reaching high revenue numbers to the point where you could exit, um, what are the qualifications they have to work for you besides, what we just talked about?
Got to be an online business. That's my bread and butter, and at least doing 20 to 30 grand a month in revenue. Um, at that level, if you were able to get to 20, 30 grand a month in revenue, yeah, that also means you can get to 100, 200, 300 grand a month
For sure.
revenue, right? So we talked about this yesterday. It's just the belief thing, right? Like, it's at that point, it's just believing you can hit those numbers, believing you can spend money on ads and get a return, believing you can hire great people to help you build. Uh, and that stuff, I mean, at this point, like, comes naturally. It's not easy to say, hey, if you're doing 20, 30 grand, you'll 3x, because it's going to take a lot of work. I'm not promising you that. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy to exit. But what I am saying is, if you put in the work, the business can get there.
Wow.
And if you're already doing those kind of numbers, I personally believe I'm able to help you do that.
Wow.
Yep.
Such a belief is what's holding a lot of people back. And I think it's because we can't see it or touch it
Yep.
or see it right here. When I've invested in mentors, when I've worked with people, literally just seeing them do the thing, literally just seeing them exit the company, it's a light switch. Like, I don't need to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, it's possible. He did it. Like, I could
Exactly.
do it. The belief is the hardest thing to get through, but when you start working with somebody who has the proof, if you don't believe it, nobody can help you. The universe can help you. God can't help you. Like, it's on you at that point to
Yeah.
decide and say, someone has done it, I could do it too.
Yeah. It's a big mental game. What about you? I guess what are some beliefs that you had that kind of held you back that you had to break in order to get to the next level?
Bro, I've been in business for a couple of years and I just broke a belief last weekend of being able to charge over $10,000, $20,000.
Yeah.
In the past, most I've charged was last year 15K video project, which is amazing.
Like not 95% profit margin too.
Literally chilled the rest of the month,
Yeah.
did nothing, stayed at home, ordered food, went out to eat. Amazing, but I went to an event last weekend and I saw a guy selling services that don't seem as beneficial as my services for hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's doing deals and people are buying them.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been a huge belief for me. But the first belief was just around money, around how you could make your own money and go out and ask for money and go out and make people offers. Shifting my belief from a fixed income was the only way to make money, fixed income saving, to hey, I could go out and put myself out there, make people offers, have a service, have a skill set that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy, and people are gonna pay me money. So I think we're always breaking beliefs, and that's why it's important to kind of get in rooms with people, and that's how we met. That's how you met your partner, uh, through groups, through people sharing similar values and goals of wanting to build a business, getting into the marketing space. But you also got to put yourself out there and provide value to people and uh, give value, show what you're really doing.
Yeah, I like how you talked about you gotta pay or not pay, sorry. You gotta put yourself in positions and in groups in order for you to be able to see other people doing stuff, charging more than what you're charging to break beliefs. And this is where I believe coaching info uh, plays a big part. A lot of times people might be like, oh, I don't want to pay 10, 20, $25,000 to go to this mastermind.
No, you spent 36K on a mastermind, right?
No, 60 grand. 60 grand.
And most of it was changing your beliefs.
Most of it was being in groups that were with people that were doing $1 million a month, 1.5 million a month, that were doing 500 grand a month like we were, but doing 80% profit margin, that were hiring, 5 people per day. We were hiring 5 people per week, right? And it's like you have to put yourself in those positions, and sometimes you have to pay to be in those rooms. You have to pay for relationships, right? And it sounds crazy. It's like we both paid to get this friendship, brotherhood. Me and my business partner, also our friend and brother, we paid for that relationship. For a lot of relationships that I've built and friendships that I've built in that 60 grand mastermind, well, I had to pay 60 grand in order to get those friendships and connects and relationships. So if you're not paying to be in those rooms or to get those kind of opportunities, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? So don't think like, oh, I'm paying, $10,000 for this program. What am I going to get in this program? No, you should be reframing your mind of like, oh my God, think about all the beliefs that I'm going to break and all the things I'm going to see by, investing 10 grand in this program, investing 10 grand in this mentor, right? So it's super powerful. It's more than just information. It's more than just hiring a coach. It's more than just, hiring a partner into your company, right? There's so many things that you're going to get out of it.
You have to pay to grow. You have to pay with time or money, right? And
exactly.
For both of us, it seems like we're fairly young. You're even
27.
You're even crazier. You exited
I exited at 25.
Yeah. You were 25 years old exiting for 7 figures. That's insane. And I feel like you were able to get there so much more quickly because you invested in certain groups and certain skill sets. And people also saw that. They're like, oh, he's investing. Oh, he's participating. Oh, he's trying to grow himself. Mm-hmm. They're willing to work with you, hear you out, do deals with you.
Exactly.
That's how we met. I invested in a coach. who's going to be on this podcast, episode number 3 or 4. So be ready for that. I invested $12,000 with him, and I was still in my mind, and I couldn't make the payment. So I worked for somebody in the group who was killing it. That built my network, and then that coach that I invested in ended up hiring me. So now I was a coach inside his program. Now I was helping people, and part of my job was getting a member to come on a weekly basis who was crushing it with their marketing agency and just teach the rest of the group.
Yeah.
That's where I reached out to Phil. We started getting connected, met up in person, through events, through just friends. We're like, oh snap, like we have a lot of values that are similar. Oh, we're trying to go to similar places. Oh, we're both super close with our family. Like that's a huge value for us.
Pushing for growth too.
Pushing
Remember,
each other for growth.
we came out here in Denver. I was like, hey, stay here. You should stay here for a week. He stayed here for a week. I was like, you know, you should move out here too.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to get out of your hometown.
I was living with my mom. So.
And then you took action. Like you literally went home a month later. He literally said, I hope I can find the text, but literally said nothing. He just sent a screenshot of him signing a lease in the same building. And then while you moved out here, I think your business like 3 to 5x, right?
Yeah.
So
taking that risk.
But it all comes from the root of if we didn't pay to be in those programs, in those masterminds, none of this stuff would have ever happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Same with the 60K mastermind. I remember all the time. I tell the story all the time. Like I went in with you guys, marketing guy, and we were doing 500, 600 a month, which I'm like, hell yeah, walking with my shoulders up. I'm like 500K a month. You guys ain't doing shit. And they sit you in group tables, right? And where there's a 10K a month table, 50K, 100K, 500K a month.
And then all in the front,
they got the gold tables. This guy doing 2 million a month in a table. I'm like, okay, bro, there's people out here doing it. Just being in the rooms, getting the connections, paying with your money, paying with your time to do that, I think is a shortcut to success that I think we should be doing more. Yeah, if we're trying to grow. So.
Always be investing, and I even for me, like I'm looking for. I mean, it's a little bit harder, right? Because I've done things I've done, so I'm still looking for high level coaching programs, masterminds, etc. And it's funny that you talked about the $2 million table, and we're at the 500,000, and we're like, we're crushing it. But you get there, and you're like, there's $1 million month table. There's a $2 million month table. And one of the things that I notice in successful people, and something I notice in us and anybody that's successful, is that I forgot what the concept is, but I think it's called a superiority complex.
Okay.
Or superior complex, and basically it's like the person knows and feels that they are better than you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, again, you're already behind the 8 ball. If you can't look at the $1 million, $2 million a month table and talk to those guys and be like, this person's really cool, great guy, but how the hell is he doing this number? Because I'm not. I know I'm better than him. And if you're not going around like thinking that, you're probably not going to hit big numbers.
Self-confidence.
Right? It's just the confidence,
conviction in yourself.
You've been saying on this thing, you're like, this person's charging 25 grand, I'm charging 10 grand. Like my stuff is better. Like my service is better, right? If you're not thinking that, you're not going to go and try to charge 25 grand. You're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna stay right here because my stuff is not as good as his. He's charging 25, mine is 10, makes sense. No, but you always constantly got to put yourself in a room so that you can see for yourself, like, he's really not doing anything more than me or different or special, right? So yeah.
No, that game's beautiful. Self-mastery is what Josh Lyons, one of my good clients and friends, is his whole foundation of self-mastery. You become a better person, you're gonna sell more, without a doubt. And you become a better person, more conviction in yourself, you're gonna reach new levels in your business. So that's always that. And sometimes it's hard to have conviction in yourself, but when you just do the work and you're putting the reps in, you're putting the time in, you're putting the money in, there's people that are gonna compliment you. There's people that are gonna tell you, oh, you're doing a great job. And that's when your confidence could grow exponentially, and you realize, oh, I'm actually doing this stuff.
For sure.
Right. But in the beginning, you have to be super confident in your ability to get there and your ability to learn quickly. And if you're not, it's gonna be really hard.
100%.
Any last words, bro? Within like
Nothing.
3 hours.
3 hours, huh? Well,
2 hours.
I guess I think we probably spelled all of it, but I mean, for the people that's watching this, you know, if you've taken away one thing, this podcast here is already a big win for us. So I'm sure you feel the same way.
Let's do that, bro.
Yep.
We'll probably do,
We'll do more of
if
these.
these keeps going, the influence, we're gonna do a lot more. We got JR next, a couple other people. Yeah, we built a pretty solid community out here of entrepreneurs. I think that's been the biggest thing. Business is hard sometimes, ups and downs, but you just have people there. You feel more confident, more safe, and you have the help.
You got the help, you know, that's the biggest thing for sure. We appreciate you having me on your first podcast.
Have to get the boy in for number one.
Yup.
Peace.